Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Before we start this podcast, let me invite you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any podcatcher. I'm such a cute. Dashing through the snow on a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobs, tails, wings, making a spirit bright. What fun it is to laugh and sing and sledding songs tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid a neigh. The Batmobile lost his wheels and the Joker got away. Hey, we hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is the fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
And we have joining us, Claire. Come on, Giggle, say hi. No hi? Okay. Well, this week we actually have Kari Whitman. She is the founder of Ace of Hearts. She is an amazing guest who will be joining us in just a moment. I was so excited to be able to sit down and talk to her because she's got the most stories. She is literally the queen of dog rescues and cat rescues, and she's going to tell you all about it in just a minute. Let's go into the episode is 154, and this week's Fact of the Week. A Heinz 57 dog is a mixed breed dog of uncertain ancestry, a mutt. The name refers to the 57 varieties Heinz slogan. Now, you were the one who actually told me about this, and I was like, really? So we had to put that in.
When grooming out in California, I've never heard that term. Never heard that term. It's just, I heard a mixed breed.
Yeah.
Medium, small, large, mixed breed. And then we moved here and people are Heinz 57, and I was like, what does this mean? Gee, I wish there was a website, maybe called Google, that I can figure this out. And
yeah, when you said you had mentioned it because of what I called Lucy.
Yes.
I called Lucy Lucy because she was on the loose, one of the dogs we had rescued, and nobody could really come up with a breed of what she was or what she is. And so you had said, oh, she's a Heinz 57, and I looked at you and I went, what are you talking about? She's not a mustard or a ketchup. And then you told me, and I go, ooh, that's a fact of the week. All right, well, you know what? We have a very interesting show for you with a guest who is going to be on with no guest to breed this week, no G&D news, none of our normal format. We are going only to talk to Kari Whitman. So
she has so much information and so much knowledge that she brings to the table that we can't even scratch the surface of.
Right.
So we found it very important to make her the star of the show, the main topic, the everything.
Correct. So with that, Claire, play Kari Whitman's interview, please.
Oh, hello. Hold on a sec. Dad, we have a guest on the podcast.
All right, this week on the podcast, we are joined with Kari Whitman. She is the founder of Ace of Hearts, and literally one of the busiest ladies I've ever had the pleasure to talk to. I'm so glad that we were able to find time to actually sit down and talk. Thank you.
Thank you. This is fun.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I've been looking forward to this since, you guys reached out and said, hey, we would love to be on the podcast. So I have been pretty much ecstatic the whole time going, I'm waiting, I want to do this, like a kid in a candy store.
That's sweet. Well, anything I can do to help the animals and get some awareness out there, we want to do it.
And you are literally, I would say, one of the biggest voices for the voiceless that's out there. You have that ability and that connection, and I respect that completely. And it's like,
thank you.
You're, obviously you've been doing this for a while, but you have. That's why I'm all these questions I have for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, it is fun. Animals are fun.
They are. They are. Well, you know what? Let's start by tell us about yourself. I mean, you have a great story, and I want everybody to kind of get to know who you are. Who is Kari?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, when I moved to Los Angeles, I rescued, I'm from Boulder, Colorado, where we don't have that high of a kill rate in animals. So I had no reality of really kill shelters or dogs getting put to sleep. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I went in and rescued my beloved Ace. Mm-hmm. And he was just a little 6-week-old American Bulldog Pit Bull mix. And he became like the love of my life. And moving to Los Angeles, a big city from a little town, was hard, and he was just such a support system for me. So when he died, he had a great life with me, and then when he died, I was like so depressed. I thought, I'm going to turn this into some beautiful lemonade with strawberries on it. So my favorite kind, and use that energy to do something constructive. So I started Ace of Hearts Dog Rescue, in 99, really. We were nonprofit 501c3 in 2001, and we have rescued, about 7,000 animals to date. And it's been definitely it's a mission, it's a passion, it's very difficult. But it's something I'm proud of. We do focus on bully breeds, American Bulldogs in honor of Ace. Mm-hmm. And pit bulls, but we do rescue everything. So we focus on those. We focus on the most needy when we go into a shelter. It's very hard to do that because you leave there deciding who lives or dies, and it's very hard. But we love seniors, and we just try to take the most needy. Medical problems are no issue for us. We get that taken care of. So it's really a great foundation, and I'm super proud of it. And so that's kind of what I've done. It's a lot.
and you think back. I mean, I look back to 99 and I go, oh, that was just a couple years ago. And then I realized, oh wait, we're 2016 going on 17. That wasn't just yesterday.
I know. It's so weird.
It does. Weird. What happened in the 2000s? I mean, it's almost a blur. And it's like I know. I don't know what happened. I was never a partier, so I'm like, I didn't party the years away. I just don't remember them. They were just there. It was like there was nothing memorable. But it's like 99. Yeah. Oh my gosh! And what I love is that you actually you have no breed discrimination, which that's an amazing thing. There's so many people that are like, ooh, pit bull, oh no, I can't, or Doberman Pinscher, no, I can't. That's one thing that I can't stand is it's not the breed.
Yeah, that's crazy too. It's not the breed.
It's the people.
It is, and it's a fallacy. I mean, if you look on unprovoked biting list, pit bull is actually number 23. Mm-hmm. Whoever made that list, I don't know. I guess trainers, but when you look on it, pit bulls are they're amazing dogs. I think the bad rap comes from they have a lockjaw mechanism, and so when dog fighting started, the lockjaw, they're very strong. They have a very strong jaw. Mm-hmm. And pit bulls are very, very, very smart. And they want to please. All they want to do is please their owner. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. Extremely intelligent dogs. So if a dog is raised to protect his home, and other people come into the home, including children, they're trying to impress their owner. Mm-hmm. They don't know what's wrong or right because they've already been been trained to do that. They don't know, okay, I don't do this, I don't do that. So it really is a fallacy. They're amazing animals. And another thing is everybody thinks that a short-haired dog that has a little bit of a blockhead and is a little stout is a pit bull. And I have a game I play with people, and I made up this big flyer, and I said, pick out the pit bull. And nobody can pick out the pit bull because they just label everything as a pit bull, whether it's a boxer lab mix or an American bulldog or a boxer pit mix, you know. So they're amazing animals, and we rescue everything, but we do focus on the bully breeds because we want to be an advocate for them. And Cesar Millan was he taught me everything I know, and he helped me start this foundation. And train, I worked with him for, every weekend for years, learning about dogs, learning about the breed, learning about training, and Cesar says the same thing. All Cesar's dogs are pit bulls except for one. He has a one Pomeranian, but, they're just incredible animals. But all animals are incredible animals. I've been vegan since I was a kid. My parents are hippies. I've never eaten an animal. So it's just something for me. I'm a big advocate for four-legged and creatures, and I just love animals. Two-legged, four-legged, anything.
I'm with you. I say this all the time. I'm almost kind of at the stage where the two-legged animals that you deal with on a daily basis are almost impossible.
I don't like them.
Yeah, right?
Impossible.
They are. They're absolutely impossible. And I'm sorry to say this, and I do my research. I did not know that you actually worked with Cesar Millan. And I'm like, I you know what? I look at everything, and I did not even see that. I apologize. I'm like, wow. People will probably go, oh, that's why he had her on the podcast. Honestly, I think that your efforts are what got my attention. And I'm like,
thank you.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was our first trainer. He had this little tiny compound in the hood, and when I started my rescue, I was trying to find a trainer, and we only had like 5 dogs, and I found him, and he said, let me help you with this, and he was really the biggest part of ACE in making the foundation what it is, and showing me that, the dog pulls on a leash. Sometimes they just want to play. They're not trying to get another dog. And, picking up on people's energies. Dogs will parrot their owners. You've got a neurotic person, you've got a neurotic dog. And so you have to, like he always says, exercise discipline and love, calm and submissive. If you're calm and submissive, your dog's going to be calm and submissive. Yes. And so he taught me how to pull dogs from shelters. He taught me everything I know. So he's been amazing to the foundation and to myself. So I'm a big Cesar fan. I just wish there were more Cesars out there because we can't find a trainer. We have gone through so many trainers. He's too busy now. And he'll take on our very special cases, but it's, we can't find a trainer like Cesar. Cesar just is, he's a dog god. He's somebody I've always wanted to have on the podcast, but he's so busy. And you got to go through so many channels, and I think it gets shut down way before it gets to him. And I'm like, oh man. Yeah. I can try to help you with that because he really cares about the dogs. He's not sure. He became this. When reality TV kind of started, they just decided to do a reality show with him because he lived in the hood in this compound with 80 dogs, and he did it. That's kind of what he he had all these dogs in a pack. He'd go up to Runyon Canyon with, I don't even know, 30 dogs, and he'd have them all attached to his waist. Mm-hmm. And they would all be dogs that had all these problems, but they didn't have the problems with him. Right. And he started realizing that it's the people's energy. And we really have to look at ourselves instead of blaming the dog. And so many people, we're very good. We only have a less than 1% return rate on our adoptions, and I'm extremely proud of that because everybody else talks to me in other rescues, and they say, how do you do that? Right. How do you do that? And I said, because I pick up the energy of who's adopting, and I learned everything from Cesar. And I pick up the energy of who's adopting, and I know that it's going to be the right mix, and that honestly, we would not have the low return rate if it wasn't for my my work with Cesar.
That is amazing, because I usually hear at the best of the best, you hear, a rescue will say, I'm about 10%, and they're happy with that. And obviously, you never know the situations. 10% is not terrible. That's not bad at all. But 1%, I mean, that's
below 1%.
Yeah, you're still, you're point, wow, I commend you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm absolutely a fan of what you're doing, and I love what you've done, and that's why I'm like, I'm sitting here giddy going, I get to talk to somebody I really want to talk to, and I'm excited about it. So, sorry if I fanboy.
Thank you. No, I love it. Thank you so much for the acknowledgement.
No, thank you for doing what you do. I fanboy off of things like this. People who are out there doing good things. You're the people that, we strive to be by rescuing animals and fostering and doing this podcast that, obviously, this is the awareness that needs to be out there, and that's what we felt. And you're doing it, and you're doing it at such a magnificent rate. I mean, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm very proud of starting 2 other rescues as well, and helping. I had 2 amazing volunteers in the beginning of this, and they kept saying, Kari, what more can I do? What more can I do? And I said, you can start your own rescue. That's what you can do. And they were like, really? And so I helped them get their 501c3 and funded it, and really worked hard to help them. But rescue is a very, very difficult.
Yes.
It's very difficult. People don't realize it's a 24-hour passion. You never kind of get a break. And I feel like there's never an end. And to me, the only end, especially in Los Angeles, is mandatory spay and neuter.
Yes.
And, we got the law passed, and we worked with Last Chance for Animals with Krista Rose to get the law passed, and now they're not enforcing the law. So I just feel like, I think Winston Churchill said it, change never comes easier without a price. And it's definitely a price. It's hard on all of us, and I hate to even think that way, but it's hard to do it, and it's hard to not do it. So I just do it.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Which actually segues me to my next question, which is, let's talk about 2008 and your efforts to actually get the spay-neuter law passed. Take us through what went on. How was that, and what was that like?
Well, we tried to get AB 1634 passed in the state. So it would have been a state mandatory spay-neuter law. And we got shot down by some of the congressmen, and the breeders went crazy. And we weren't really against the breeders. We were against unlicensed backyard breeding. So that's really our big problem, especially in Los Angeles. And, your listeners need to know that Los Angeles has the highest kill rate of any urban city in America. And so, they really didn't have anything to fight against us when we were in Sacramento fighting with them. Other than the fact the breeders went crazy, and I don't understand it, because most breeders, once you pay for your dog, they don't care what happens to the dog, and they won't take the dog back. So we went and fought this law very hard, a couple of years. It got it on the ballot, got it up there, and it didn't pass. And so we're continuing to do it again, but it did pass. What we did get, which was the win, was they couldn't fight us on the fact that Los Angeles kill rate is 500 animals a day. So, and nobody else has that. New York City is about 160. So New York State, all of New York, is at about 160. So they couldn't fight us on that. Like, okay, so we'll do it for LA County. So I thought, okay, great, we have this. And then, we go and to the shelters, and this is, we had a big recession, a lot of cuts. And we go to the shelters and say, great, what are you doing about this address? What are you doing about this address? And we would have our little task force out running around and finding backyard breeders, wanting the shelters to go in and issue a citation and get the dogs out. And they wouldn't do it. And we're like, well, hold on, this just passed. They said, but we haven't have any funding to do this. So then I came up with the idea. We have a lot of police officers that work with us, because they go into these neighborhoods and they see dogs everywhere, and they'll call me and go, oh, God, Kari, there's a dog here. And they always tell me, there's some very rough neighborhoods in Los Angeles, and they'll call me and say, the dogs and the children just kill us. It's so hard on us. So So I'm friendly with a bunch of cops, and we take a lot of dogs that they find on the streets and support them, and they become fosters. And it's really a wonderful program we do with the police and with the veterans. So I went to the city and said, okay, great, you guys don't have the money, but I have your employees that are going to donate their time to let us do this task force. And they still wouldn't pass it.
Really?
So they wouldn't let us do it. So it's crazy. This is what I mean. It's very hard. I feel like, we put these laws in place, and then the city fights their own laws. So it's, coming from a small town in Colorado, where we don't, it's just very liberal and very help-oriented. It kills me that this is what happens.
Mm-hmm. And
so it was a big effort.
I completely understand, because, see, I grew up right there. I grew up right on the other side of the Hollywood sign in the San Fernando Valley. So I know exactly how difficult, and even in the San Fernando Valley, it's Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County, it spans so far, and you can be anywhere, and you're almost always in Los Angeles County. So you can have this small house that inside could have 10 kennels, and they're just backyard breeders with sick dogs. They're emaciated. There's all these, problems. They're living in feces. But, my question, and I never really have been able to think of this.
And they sell the dogs for $10. They sell the dogs for $10.
Oh yeah, they'll go to Food for Less, or they'll go to Walmart, Target, and they'll go, oh, my dog just had puppies. It's a BS story, and they're making money hand over fist, and the dogs could have parvo, they could have anything, and then you bring this dog home, you're oh, look, I brought this dog home to my daughter, my child, whatever, or even to your significant other, and then all of a sudden the dog dies, and it's like, oh my God, what just happened? What did I do? It's not your fault. It's buying these dogs from these whack jobs, in a sense. Now, why is and this is kind of a side question to this, doesn't animal control hold the jurisdiction for all the animal control and all of this problem for the spay and neuter law? Aren't they responsible to enforce this?
Well, yes, in one way, and it depends on which animal control you deal with. For me, there's a lot of different, every county and city has a different animal control. So you have like a West Valley and an East Valley and a Carson and a Lancaster. They're all run by different individuals. The city and county get 5 animal controls each. The city is run by Brenda Barnett, and she is doing an excellent job with the help of Best Friends, because Best Friends has developed NKLA, which is No Kill LA. But they will only work with the city shelters. They will not work with the county shelters. County shelters kill rate run by Marcia Maiden, not a fan. The county shelters are killing double the amount of dogs that the city shelters are killing. And they're like adopting dogs out without being spayed or neutered. They're supposed to now, because of this law, and no dog can leave the shelter without being spayed or neutered. So if you went in to adopt a dog, in the adoption fee, which is $100 or something, I think that the public pays, that includes the spay or neuter. Well, county has been just letting dogs go and not spay or neutering, and their kill rate is even higher. So we just have problems with the higher ups and the politics involved in all of animal rescue and all of the efforts that we put in to try to keep the kill rate low. So they're just not enforcing it. And every time we go and say, well, hold on, I'll throw the book at them and say, well, what about this code, and what about this agricultural code, and what about this? And we don't have enough staff to do that. And then I give them a solution. Great, we've got cops. Well, we can't really do that legally. So it's impossible. So now we've we've gotten a team of pro bono lawyers who are on our side, and thank God for our pro bono lawyers. I don't know what I would do without them, and we've been really successful in a lot of areas because of our pro bono lawyers and our animal lovers pro bono lawyers. They've been amazing for us, and so I just started hitting up every single large law firm, and I realized that law firms actually want to give away pro bono work a certain amount a year.
Yeah.
So we're working on it, but man, it's just, to even get a court date is like in years.
Yeah, well,
So
you know how
crazy.
the LA court systems are. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived through, living in the Valley. I lived through the O.J. Simpson trial right down the street from me. So that was crazy as it was. But and you see the courts, it's ridiculous. I mean, how many courthouses there are in LA? It seems like there's one they have to almost have one on every block, and they're always filled. And you're going, oh gosh, it's bizarre. And I would think, I remember this statistic back in the 90s. It said that one police officer was obligated to protect over 30 citizens in Los Angeles. And that was back in the 90s.
Oh, my gosh.
And I would imagine that might even date back before you even moved there, because I can remember this.
Yeah.
I want to say this is about 95 that I remember this story.
Yeah,
I was about 14 at the time, and I was like, 30 people? How does one police officer protect 30 people at once? And it's crazy. And, again...
It's growing too fast.
Well, yes. Yeah. And you think to yourself, how can this place grow any bigger? It's crazy. I mean, it's a concrete metropolis that people are living on top of each other, but and then you come out here. Yeah. I'm a reverse transplant. Most people transplant from places like this to Los Angeles. I did it the other way around. I don't know why, but I look at things here, and our problems are just the same here in the Midwest that they are right there in Los Angeles. But the difference is the mentality here is more narrow-minded. People don't look at animals as family yet. There are
really? Where are you at?
I'm in central Missouri. I'm 100 miles out of St. Louis.
God.
And you'll find that people don't really treat their animals like their kids. And
oh my God.
And there is still a great deal of narrow-mindedness, and I'm just like, huh? I mean, people will dump, they'll dump. We just rescued a dog that we were able to get to a rescue, but it was literally just had puppies about 9 weeks ago. She dried up, but she was sitting on the roadway where this little road, people are doing 65, 70, probably more.
Oh, no.
Probably what they did is it was her first heat. She had puppies. They said bye-bye, put her out, and they will dump a dog on the side of the road with no...
Oh my God. And then you have the weather issue there.
Well, yeah. And surprisingly, for almost Thanksgiving, we are actually still kind of warm. I mean, it's in the 50s. Yeah. But that's warm for this time of year.
Yeah, global warming.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll take that.
That's a whole other subject in itself.
Well, I'll be honest. When you're under snow, you understand with being in Colorado, it snows there pretty much, 10 months out of the year? So, you know what snow is like. It's not fun to deal with, but
no, it's not.
I couldn't tell you how many times I've done interviews with our local animal control here, and we talk about winter weathers, we talk about summer, and people will leave their dog outside during literally under 30 degrees with freezing rain, and you're just like, what? And the requirements
don't they cite them? They don't cite them?
As long as they hit...
Is that allowed?
They do their best, but again, you can get out to the countryside, out of city limits, and this is where it gets to be really, really odd. There is very little law when you go out of city limits, like where our shop is.
My God.
It's literally just, they call it outskirts, and I don't know how they consider it the outskirts of town. If a dog walks on your property, you have the legal right to shoot them. If
oh my God.
If they have, like, say you have chickens and it's going to jeopardize your chickens, you can shoot the dog. I'm like, that's ridiculous. But people will.
Oh my God.
I've had this conversation with lots of people through, either the West Coast or the East Coast. Everything is kind of a tidal wave. All the laws from the West and the East, they end up, the mentality kind of hits the middle of the country all at one boom. And it's weird. I can't understand it. My views are a little bit different. And I always go, This doesn't make sense. I mean, just between my wife and I, we've saved over 40 dogs and cats just this year.
Wow, bless your heart.
And we've gone into houses that were burnt down because they were a meth lab. We've gone into houses that had been abandoned. We get the rights to go in, and we take these animals out. It's freezing conditions. We have coyotes and all kinds of predators that can be in the area, and we'll get these animals out before they're, unfortunately endangered or worse. But it's like, you think to yourself,
that's awful.
Why would people dump? And I couldn't tell you how many times I hear of a dumping situation. We'll just dump puppies in a box. Why?
Oh my God.
We did even this one story about backyard breeders on social media. Because Missouri used to be, as of like the last couple of years, it's gotten a little bit better. It used to be the #1 puppy mill in the country. I'm like, wow, what? Luckily, it's gotten better, but the problem is that they're not advertising the way they used to. Now they're just advertising on social media. So it's the same thing, but let's go to Craigslist and they'll say we have XYZ of a dog. And that dog, it's from a puppy mill. Or another scary thing is, people will drive through your town, and this is not just this town, any small town, they'll drive right through it, and they'll look for, bully breeds or larger dogs. They'll take the dog out of the backyard, they'll either sell it online, or they'll have, these dog fights. And
is there a lot of dog fights there?
Luckily, not as much as you hear. If you hear of it, it's already made its way through really quick. But something I've heard has been a new trend, and this is absolutely frightening, is that they put 2 dogs in the trunk of a car, close it, drive on the highway, stop at a certain spot, and whichever dog's still alive is the winner. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is bizarre. So,
oh my God,
you just kind of go, this is not really happening. This is not civilization, right?
I don't understand. I mean, is it a felony or a misdemeanor for animal abuse there? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure. I know the laws just changed this year. There is, I want to say misdemeanor, but I could be incorrect. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, LA, we got it to be a felony. That's another thing I helped with. But animal abuse is now a felony, not a misdemeanor. But I don't understand people. I don't know. I don't understand how people can be like that. People must be really, because they, all the serial murderers, harmed animals first, and people that are doing this have a serious screw loose.
I couldn't tell you how many times we've talked about that. We've referenced that so many times. Bundy like to kill animals. You have them all. It's like the psyche is right there. We've got the proof. Why, especially when it's a kid, and it's like, okay, if it's a child that's doing this, well, maybe we should be researching. Yeah. Yeah.
It's depressing.
It is.
I just can't believe people, and I don't think we have a shelter finder program for my foundation, and it's Shelter Finder, and what we do is we challenge anybody who's going to buy a dog from a breeder that they won't go to that breeder, and we will find a purebred dog that they want, anything from a Mexican hairless to a Chihuahua to an Australian cattle dog. We will find it at a shelter that is ready to be euthanized, because in LA, there's probably, I think it's 52% are purebreds, and that brings back to the breeders. I don't think anybody should be allowed to breed dogs, period, until there's none of their kind of dog in any shelter in America.
Yeah, and it is hard for me to actually agree with a breeder. It is really difficult. But at least pet stores, these you would go into a mall and there was these little pet shops that would have the dogs and at least you don't see them anymore. So that's a positive.
Yeah, that's true. And Petco helped out a lot by just bringing adoptions in. They really did. We do our adoptions at Petco and Petco, but PetSmart's great too. They don't sell animals, and that helped. You're right. That helps a lot.
Yes,
a lot.
And I'd like that. I'm with that. I couldn't tell you how many times I would go to a mall. I even think I went to Beverly Center at one point.
Yeah, they used to have that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was called Lovey Dog or Love Dog or something. Yeah,
and
we actually did a video surveillance on them, and they legally had to take the dogs out of those cages. I think it was every 2 hours, and we sat there with a hidden camera right at the top of the escalator. There, I'll never forget it. We sat there with a hidden camera and got them closed down once. It's called Pet Love, and we got them closed down once for not following their humane codes. But then the final time they got closed down, then they sold it to somebody else, got them closed down again, and then they had a business. But it's I don't understand humans. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's very difficult. And people are like, oh my God, you put all this effort into saving dogs. Why aren't you saving humans? I said, because I don't like humans.
Yeah.
I don't want to save humans. Not all humans, but most overall. If you get 10 dogs in a room and 10 humans in a room, I'll love all 10 dogs and maybe one human. So
I work with animals, and I love it. It's the only time I'm ever happy because I don't have to deal with people. I mean, I can deal with people to the most part, but animals show a different compassion, a different love. I don't remember the name, and thinking about when you were talking about the one in Beverly Center, there was a pet store, and it was up on Mulholland. I can't think of the name of
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was in Beverly Glen.
Yes, that's exactly the one. And I remember Paris Hilton had bought, I want to say she bought her Chihuahua there.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of problems, and they were shut down for, I want to say the same thing. And then they were
probably not for following the codes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone, and actually it's been replaced now with a rescue and groomer place. So rescue dogs are in there, kind of like the same thing. They're all rescue dogs.
Okay, I think it was a groomer when I left. I left California in 2010, and that was my last time up there. So it might have been a groomer at the time. I want to say that's possible. So the rescue might have come in secondary. But yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre to say the least. And what? To carry on the trend, in your opinion, now again, you're way more of a voice in this than really anybody I've spoke to, so you might have a better opinion on this. What do you think would actually help enforce this law? What do you propose would actually make the difference and actually enforce it?
I think, you mean in LA or everywhere?
Let's start with just the LA, because it's right there, and we know that the law is in place.
Yeah, I think education. I think in media. Media is really the only way to make change, because the politics is so corrupt in so many areas. And so media is it really is the only way, and people getting mad and protests and celebrity voice, which I think helps a lot. But I don't think people realize, when I tell people, like, people will come and look at our dogs at Petco and have an unfixed dog. Maybe they bought a dog from a breeder or got a dog from a friend. And I'll be like, do you know that your dog's not fixed? You can get cited for that. And they'll say, what are you talking about? It's my dog. I said, I know, I understand. But in this county, you have to have your dog spay or neutered. And nobody really knows that this law exists. And I think the reason the city and county are sweeping it under the rug is because they don't have, what they're telling me, is money to enforce it. So I think just the education and the knowledge, and for people to know that this law actually exists, and so people could, citizen arrest people to go up to somebody at a dog park and say, excuse me, I'm going to give you a citizen's arrest because your dog's not neutered. And if we could give the power of that, you're allowed to, I also helped pass that with, that you can break a car window if a dog's in it in the heat, because in LA we have the opposite problem, it's hot.
Yes.
And so people will go into the grocery store and talk on their cell phone for an hour and leave their dog in the car, rolled up windows in the direct sunlight, and they're going to come back and the dog will be dead. Mm-hmm. So it's the same kind of thing. You as a citizen are allowed, and will not get in trouble, you are allowed to break their window.
Yes.
So, and it's kind of the same type of thing. It's the only thing. I just don't think people know. If they knew, I think people would be a little more open to, confronting people on it and possibly, citizen arresting them.
And we talked about this a while back ago, but and maybe you'll be able to attest to this or even have an opinion on it. There are some, and we've talked to different people over this, where they have a male dog, male owner, and he is in a sense attached to his dogs having testicles.
Yeah.
And does not want to have, he's like, nope, my dog, I will not do that to him. It's like, what is your attachment to your dog not being?
It's so weird. I know. We come across that a lot, and now there's a couple of vets in LA now that will put in fake testicles.
Yes.
And, we come across that, and I just explain to them that, like, your dog is not attached to his testicles.
No.
So I understand. I mean, your dog he's not attached. He's only using them to breed and breed and breed. And you're not allowed to breed here. So you really need to get rid of the testicles. And I mean, and just the anxiety that comes from a dog with testicles. I mean, literally, it is, oh my God, there's just no comparison to a dog that's neutered or spayed and not. I mean, just the temperament and their demeanor is completely different.
The health,
which is great in a very more calm way, a calmer way,
yes.
More, they mind better. And the most important thing is that if you don't, neuter your dog or spay your dog, it has a 38% chance of contracting cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I use that one the most because then they go, oh, I don't want them to get cancer. Like, yeah, they're going to get cancer. Mm-hmm. And for the females, they can also get pyometra, which is an infection of the abdomen. So, infection of the uterus. And so, so it's just, you have to now throw back the medical part for them to have some kind of reality on, you're doing the wrong thing here for your dog.
One thing we'll always say is Google health risks of not having your dog or cat spay and neutered. And it's an easier way. You just throw out Google it, and then you start to see everything. And it's you can throw everything at them at once by just using the word Google.
You're right. That's a good one.
And that's what we'll do every so often, and it does work. It's weird. Some things are the same, whether you're in Los Angeles, you're in the Midwest, or even in the East Coast. The same problems are there. It's the biggest thing that again, being from both spots, seeing it from both areas, it's that people are more concerned with more of the pop culture than they're worried about what's actually something that's going to help them. I mean, if you can listen to one podcast a week that has information, then you've at least learned something. Exactly. We live in a TMZ world that we worry more about what's going on there. Why did Kanye West cancel a concert is more important than, can my dog be sick if I don't actually do this? Or is it okay?
But I will say about TMZ, Harvey is our biggest supporter. So yeah, TMZ, I agree with you. We do live in a TMZ world, but Harvey Levin is one of the, he literally is our biggest financial supporter. And he is, so everybody knows, he's a huge animal lover.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this. If I have to look at any kind of news feed, he's the only one I trust. That's the sad part. That is the saddest. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to get my news from TMZ.
I agree. I'm with you. We live in a TMZ world, and I don't really watch TMZ, but I love Harvey Levin.
Well, you know what? You'll see the feed every so often. It'll come through on your phone. I mean, it does with me, and I'll read whatever it is, and okay,
Yeah.
But and it's fact. It's at least it's non-biased. So I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And I do know he is a huge animal lover. So that
huge, yes, very, very, very big. And that's what I love about him. At least he donates so much money. I mean, he donates so much money to not just me, but tons of rescues. But he rescued one of his first dogs from us, 15 years ago. And he just has always, I can't tell you how many dogs he saved through me. The donations he has given us has saved, I don't even know, probably a couple hundred dogs. He's really amazing.
Again, you are literally I would say, and I think I said this last week, you are the queen of rescues. You pretty much not only have done it, but you've got the support behind you. And that's where it is.
Yeah, but you got to use it. You know, you use your support, and like when I have a demonstration, I call my biggest celebrity and I beg them. I'm like, dude, I need you. You know, and you know, my other business, I'm an interior designer, and a lot of my clients are celebrities, and that does help. And so I always hit them up. But you know, celebrities have a very, very big voice, and the only way we can create change is through education and through people listening. People are going to listen to, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio before they're probably going to even listen to Donald Trump at this point. And so it's, you know, it's a big voice, and I beg them to use it. And the ones that have ethics and are into philanthropy, which they should be, will use it. And it is great. I mean, Jessica Alba and Kristen Bell and Daisy Fuentes is, you know, for our celebrities are probably our most dog-loving involved celebrities, and Harvey, I guess he's a celebrity now, I guess.
He is,
but,
yeah.
You know, yeah, it's so weird. I don't think of him as a celebrity because I'm just, you know, but, you know, it's important. There's so many, I mean, Sharon Osbourne supports us a lot, and Rachel Ray, huge supporter of the foundation because she has a pit bull, and so we just, you know, Rachel's amazing. I think Rachel's really, really, really keeps her word and ethics in on the animals, and she's got a whole foundation, and she's been, oh my God, she's a new supporter of ours, but she has been unbelievable in the last couple of years. So it's been great. So whenever I have something come up and we need that voice of the celebrity, then I make that call and beg. You know, and you just have to you got to eat humble pie and say, I need you, but you eat it for the dogs, you know, and for the cats and for really all the animals, and it's great to see who will come out. I mean, most of the celebrities don't even know what's going on.
That is
do you know
true.
if you go 10 miles that well, they're killing, you know, 500 dogs today? What?
Yeah.
Yes. In Los Angeles? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure? I'm like, am I sure? Sure, you want to go? You know? So, you know, I do it. I'm pretty hardcore, but, you know, people need to just see it to know it. And it sucks. And, I mean, I hope one day, dogs aren't available and people are in line to get a dog. Because dogs for children, for handicapped, for old people, for lonely people, for families, I mean, what else tops the cake other than a dog or a cat? I mean, what makes, you know, I'm a designer and I do all these celebrity homes, and I'm very lucky that my business is great, but interior designer, and at the house, when I'm done doing a house, I'll say, look, the only thing I can't do for you is create the energy of an animal. You need a dog. And you know, every one of them gets one, as long as they want a dog. I'm not going to push a dog on them, but, you know, the energy of an animal I can't create that. That's the energy of, you know, unconditional love and kindness and protection and just the value that holds to our society is incredible. Agreed. And the fact that we just take it for granted, and I think we take it for granted, is we don't have the forbidden fruit syndrome. And we have too many animals, so people are like, oh, I can get another one. Oh, that one's old. Oh, yes. I can do this. If they weren't available, it's like the iPhone 7. It's not available. Oh, my God, I want it. You just have to play that, you know, can't have, must have game with society where dogs just aren't available. And then people are going to start appreciating dogs and cats and hamsters and rabbits and whatever your affinity for what animal is. I mean, you have to make them eventually not available so they can't have them, and then they're going to want them. And that's, unfortunately, I don't know when. I hope that happens in my lifetime because I've worked so hard to save these animals.
I think it's actually happening now. I mean, you know what? I was not around in the 70s, but I remember, you know, hearing about how child laws started to come around towards the 70s, and you know, child protective services really started to become a thing into the 80s. I kind of feel like that's where we are with animals now. I feel like we're right at that mentality where we're actually starting to, you know, see that the laws and the protections, and maybe even, you know, an animal protection service agency might start to you know, flourish out of this. You've got the voice.
That would be great. I'm trying, man.
You have that. I mean, I have a podcast, which again,
which is great.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And they're doing something. If everybody did one thing for the animals once a week, we wouldn't be in this position.
No.
If everybody would foster a dog. Just even, you know, we tell people we don't believe in boarding our dogs, so all of our dogs are in foster care. And, some people can't financially afford a dog, or some people just have a couple months off of work, or some people don't know if they're ready for a dog. And fostering a dog, if you go to a rescue or a shelter and just foster a dog for a couple weeks, it will make the hugest difference in your life.
It does.
As well as in, it will make the hugest difference in your life. Yeah, don't move him. It will make the hugest difference. You can back me. Sorry. I'm so sorry. It will make the hugest difference in your life. But more importantly, the dog's life, and then you can create change. At least say, I'm going to give back for a couple weeks. I'm going to give back for a month, and feel good about it. And it's just, I just think giving back is the only thing to do. We just can't be all the time.
Yeah, we can't. We can't expect things to change without making the change ourselves. At least taking that step forward, and that goes for anything out there. You gotta get out there, and again, you're the one who's really got that ability, and you're doing that. I'm trying. Well, you're succeeding. Trust me.
I think there's never an end. It's like, oh my gosh, there's another one, and there's another. And then there's this, representative that's with the city that I've got to hit up and try to get his mind changed. I just try to get city council members to go down with me to the shelter. I say, okay, great. You want to come with me down there and walk into the euthanasia room?
Yeah.
And none of them will do it.
No.
I said, great. You don't want to, why? Oh, because it's sad. Okay, if it's sad, then why don't you make change?
Good point.
So that's what I do, and I challenge them. Come with me. They can't do that, but then they can't sign a bill.
Yeah.
So what kind of hypocrite is that? So so it's just it is what it is, and we just have to continue fighting. We need more people to do it, and more leaders.
I'm mad that I didn't get into this kind of activity, to what I'm doing now when I was there. Somebody from your organization sent me a message says, I wish that you still lived here so you could be part of this. I'm like, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I would be right there just spearheading everything and doing anything I could.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
but you're doing it there. You're doing it there. And PETA has that great program where you can sponsor. And, we're a nonprofit. We don't have any money. And we always sponsor a couple dogs to have a warm place to sleep, which means just a shed that PETA goes out and does. You can do that in your community with all the cold weather there and the way that they're treating the dogs there. You're doing something. So, that you should be very proud of, So
it's never enough.
They need you there too. I know it's never enough. It isn't. That's the one thing about, I think maybe a lot of nonprofits, it's just, it's very hard. And the only way that we can do this is we all have to get together as a society and decide that this is wrong. And whether even if you don't have an affinity for animals, something else, give back, do something. Don't sit on the couch all the time. Don't watch TMZ even all the time. Harvey will kill me, but go do something. Make a change. Make a difference. Even if it's an hour a week.
Yes.
And it drives me crazy that people don't do that. So anyway, that's what it is.
No. Your rant is exactly my rant. I couldn't tell you how many times this is exactly the conversation I have all the time, and the passion is what I love the most, is because I'm the same way. Don't even start me on nutrition for dogs or cats. Don't start me on that.
Oh God, I'm the same way. I cook for my dog, so.
What gets under my skin, and I actually will say this now. I'm going to repeat myself because it'll be on the next podcast as well. But what will drive me nuts is walking around a big box store, and you see name brand, nice grocery basket full of nice food for the actual people, and they have the lowest grade dog food.
Yep, exactly.
Gosh, I live
I
live in a small town. So anything I say, if I start ranting, I'm going to see that person again, and probably a lot sooner. Unlike when I would go to a big box store in California, I would never see that person again. Here, unfortunately, I see them a lot. So I can't go on this, soapbox and say, you are an idiot. You're feeding your dog garbage. You'd be better off feeding them cardboard. I can't do that as much. I can do it here, but it must drive you absolutely bananas.
Oh, it drives me crazy because they don't realize it's actually cheaper to cook for your dog. So, and people, I don't know why people don't realize that. It's cheaper, not only the health benefits and saving on the vet costs, but to go out and buy the food. And all the dogs that are adopted, they get a big packet, and one part of the packet is how to emotionally support your dog, how to not put a dog under a plane and fly with your animal, and how to feed your animal. And we have like 6 or 7 recipes that we give, and we break it down on cost for them. And it is cheaper to actually cook for your dog, and your dogs smell better. Their health is better. To me, it's unbelievable. The food out there is it's disgusting. Disgusting.
It is. So, I'm actually, we have no sponsors on the podcast. This is a non-profit podcast, so I'm not plugging anybody, but I'm thinking to myself, and maybe we'll just trademark this so they can't do this. But, there's so many services online that you can order food, like Blue Apron, for example.
Yeah.
Why don't they have a raw holistic brand that, product that they could send out, so it's not just you getting your food with the appropriate amount of ingredients, but they have it for your animals. That would make sense. And I
know, that would be crazy. That would be amazing. In LA, they do have a couple places that you can go buy the cooked food at.
Yes.
But you're right. They should have it home delivered. I know there's one called Lily and somebody, and they deliver home cooked food, but it's only in Los Angeles. But you're right. Why don't they deliver at the same time that they deliver the food for the human? Blue Apron could deliver a recipe for your dog. I mean, that would be an excellent. You should call them and ask them to do it. Make a bunch of money and donate it back to me.
Hey.
To the foundation.
You know what? I would totally donate any bit of proceeds that would go. That's one thing that because I've always said I don't want to make a profit on this podcast. I just want this heard by hundreds of thousands of people, and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else. And it's like, I'm just, as I'm thinking about raw holistic, I've never thought of that until this very second. So you know what? You probably have a bigger voice.
You should hit them up.
Well,
yeah, but hit them up. Or, I'll do it too, but hit up Blue Apron and just say, hey, don't you send a little side thing for your dog? And it can be small, medium, or large.
Yeah.
And when you order, you get, a little extra stuff that you can make and your dog eats with you. And that's another thing. My dogs never beg. And people always say to me, why don't your dogs ever beg? And I said, because I don't make food like a treat.
Yeah.
Like I have free feeding. I have stuff out. I have bones everywhere. And because I don't want them to know that it's that big of a deal. I can't stand it when you go to a house and they're like, oh, the dog's begging, don't give them people food.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, do you know what's in dog food? Do you have any idea what's in dog food?
Yeah.
So, sure, spicy stuff. No, but to me, it's it's a whole other subject. Don't get me started on.
I know. That's why I was trying to avoid that myself, and then here I get into it as well. Like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Oh,
yeah.
I was going to segue a moment ago before I actually blew myself out of the water. How can anyone help Ace of Hearts, whether it's donating, volunteering, fostering, etc.? How can somebody get involved with you?
Well, the main thing, the number one thing that would help us and the animals the most is fostering. And remember, when you foster for us, we supply everything. Our dogs are very spoiled when they come out of the shelter. Everybody, the rescues go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. They get a brand new fluffy bed. They get, collar and leash, a bunch of different treats, vitamins, really good food, and all their medical care taken care of. So if you foster for us, there's no out-of-pocket expenses for you. So that is a really great way for us. That's the thing we need the most. Also volunteering, coming to the adoptions, walking dogs, transporting dogs, picking dogs up from high kill shelters and doing freedom rides. That's probably the funnest one. You take a dog that was just going to die that morning and he's, riding in your car, going on a walk on some soft grass, and people really love to do that, and it feels really, really good. And then the last way is, if you're not in LA, is we have a nonprofit dog bed company called Greener Pup, and it's greenerpup.com, and 100% of our profits go to Ace of Hearts and other small foundations, like, getting money to have people start their own foundations, like I did with Karma and other rescues that I helped. And so if you buy a bed from us, It's greenerpup.com, and if you buy a bed from us, when you get the bed, you get a little certificate of where your money went and for what dog. So it's run by our volunteers. We don't take it. It's everything goes back to ACE. So and really, we get about almost 60% on those beds. So you'll get, you'll know what dog you're helping, and you'll have a new fluffy dog bed. And the beds are amazing. They're all made out of recycled plastic bottles. They're hypoallergenic. Everybody loves our beds. They last forever, which I don't know if that's a thing or a bad thing, but they last forever. People call me and go, "Oh, I know, I just need to buy a cover. This bed is like so." And that's great, and the dogs love them. So, I rescue dogs. So I designed these beds so the dogs would love them. You can put them outside, and if you're outside and even if it was raining and the bed got wet, it drops out right away and doesn't lose its fluff. So that's the last way that you could help my foundation. But, really for us, it's going to and fostering dogs for other shelters in other parts of America, and really being a voice. And, if you see a dog sitting out in the cold, call animal control. Do something, have the courage to knock on somebody's door and say, "Excuse me," or take that dog from them. You don't want your dog break. Can I have it? And then, try to find it a good home or contact us and we will try to find it a good home. We will always help and try to find homes for any dog that has a foster attached to it. So we have people call us saying, "Oh, I had a baby, the dog's not being good with the baby," whatever. As long as they foster the dog, we will always find it a home. I mean, we probably place on our courtesy posts, we call it courtesy posts, we probably place, 50 to 60 of those a month just by our website and helping them screen people so they don't get the wrong people. So really, it's just, for us, that's the best thing to do. We want to help all the dogs. So even if you're not in LA, helping another foundation would be great for us as well.
Perfectly said, and I will have show notes in the description of the page, a lot more on Ace of Hearts and how you can get in contact with you through your actual organization. And it's always a pleasure to be able to talk to somebody who is as passionate as you are. It is absolutely
Thank you.
It is
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. You're so sweet. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, come on. I mean, you're literally a living legend. I mean, thank you for making the time for me. That's even better. I mean, seriously.
Well, thank you.
I'm more humbled by it than anything else. I do appreciate it.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you. Absolutely. Anything I can do to help the animals, and thanks for what you do. And again, let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.
I could have talked to Kari for the rest of the day. It was one of those interviews that I had the most fun. I never probably shut up.
There is so much information that she had that you could probably listen to it a few different times because you're going to miss the different things that she said. It's
kind of like a Marvel movie. You watch it the first time, and then, you have to watch it a couple times just because it was so good. That's kind of how this interview was for me. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed talking with her, and, just the fact that she started this foundation, this organization, to try to help, and look at what she's done with it. I mean, she's helped pass this law. She is literally the backbone. I mean, in being in Los Angeles, you can really get lost easily in there. She has managed to step over the soapbox and step onto a stage and do this.
And was able to do all this while working, while supporting herself. Excuse me.
Building her career.
Being as important as she is at her job, and then as important as she is at her rescue.
Right.
Like she said, rescue is not a part-time thing. You only deal with it once a week. No, it's an everyday, and it's always working, always evolving, and you have to keep up with it. Some people who want to start helping out don't have to be that involved.
Right.
They can be just a foster. And some, like her rescue, they supply everything for the dog.
Which is so cool.
Which is great. I wish Pikal was big enough to do that, because Pikal, we don't have enough food coming in for donations to support our fosters. So whoever's fostering animals at that time pay for the food. He called.
Boy, do we know what that feels like.
Food and cat litter.
Yeah.
Paper towels to clean up the messes
Right.
and such, and cleaner. But it's really great seeing the fact that her rescue is able to take care of those situations. And I'll tell you what, Harvey
Levin.
I have a new respect for him. At first, I was like, you know what? This is just some guy on the TV trying to make money, and then you see how much he gives.
And haven't I been telling you this for a long time?
Well,
I have
TV. I don't trust anything that comes out of that thing.
Well, I know. I said it before, and now that you're here, I said it even in the interview. I've only listened to his stuff now.
I know that you rely on the news coming across properly from his area.
Yeah.
But in general, I just see it as, oh wow, this guy does the same thing. He has his main job that he has to focus on.
Oh, and he does a good job at it.
Right. And then donates to so many different charities and helps out and is a big contributor. That just shows his character.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome. I was like, you know what, alright, well, he's not just some dude trying to get on TV.
You actually now respect TMZ.
I respect him.
I respect TMZ because he made.
I respect him.
He made it, and I did you actually know what TMZ stood for?
No.
30 mile zone, 30,000 miles, 30 mile zone, 30 mile zone. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that I got that right. I probably should have, thought that one out. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this because he's a huge fan of the movie Airplane. So that's where it came from. If I got this wrong, I'm sure I'm going to. I thought it was 30 mile zone. But if I got it wrong, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get an email here saying you're an idiot.
Anywho.
Well,
so as I continue listening to this interview, obviously I wasn't there firsthand. She made such a valid point when she was trying to talk to people, trying to get laws passed and such, and the law writers and and whatnot. Use the wrong word. They don't want to go to the shelter.
Right.
They do not want to go to where the dogs are being euthanized and see exactly what happens on a day-to-day basis on animals that are being put to sleep each day.
Yeah, because if they don't see it, then it doesn't happen in their world.
They're they're covering their face and their eyes. I don't see you, you don't see me.
Right.
So it's not happening. It's not true.
Right.
And they don't want to, and it's sad. It's too sad. Well, if it's too sad for you to go and look at, then why isn't it too sad
to do something?
Yeah, why is it not sad enough for you to get off your dust? They are all trying to please each other, and they all want to make each other happy, so they don't want to rock the boat in any direction because they don't want to make enemies.
And it's special needs. These, this is the problem with politicians, whether they're just small, little local, or they go all the way to the top. It's the same thing. They're only going
special interests.
Yeah,
always
BS.
take over.
It's like NASCAR for politicians. They only have their main people, their main contributors that they're worried about. They're not worried about the things that are actually, in place. This is a major problem.
I mean, when you think about 500 dogs a day being euthanized, that is unbelievable.
It's unnecessary.
And you brought up a good point how the backyard breeders, the internet breeders, all these people are standing up getting all kinds of their panties in a wad because then they're stopping making money.
Right.
They don't care what happens to that dog once they leave the breeder, like she said. They don't care if that dog lives or dies. They want their money.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. And more people are. I think they're starting to come around that animals are our family more now than that was, say, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Even 10 years ago, it was still the same way. I mean, look at the Midwest. It's like this still right here.
Yeah, out here, when she goes, no way, really? It's really that bad? No, it's really that bad. It's a dog.
A dog.
Leave that dog alone. It's my dog. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And then
get that twang in there.
They're just like that. And then, like you pointed out, they have this love for their dog's testicles.
Yep.
They have this need to make sure their dog still has its testicles, and it's a weird, unhealthy relationship between the man and his dog's testicles. Look, you're not getting castrated. No, you're not getting anything cut off. The dog is.
And
not you.
We did that episode way back when, and like 50 some episodes ago, I think we did it. And, it's funny because we actually mentioned prosthetics to people. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to put some fake boobies on my dog's genitals. I remember that conversation. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and it's horrible out here. And to see how many people do not treat their dog anywhere near like family. Okay, you don't want to treat your dog like family. You don't want to say that that's your kid. You don't have to treat it like trash.
Right.
My dad always hated people to say he was a pet parent. My wife didn't give birth to no dog. And it wasn't that. It wasn't, no, Dad. No one's saying Mom popped out puppies. We're saying is that you become the adopted parent.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the blood related to anything to call it your child. I mean, how many people adopt children that aren't blood related,
and it's
but
their
still
child.
Their child?
Well, and how many people, and how many times have we said this? People who cannot have children, they have dogs and cats. And that fills that void like no other.
And it's needed. So it's starting with something small, like she said. You start small and you work your way up. You constantly fight. If everybody can dedicate some time each of their week for the better good of the animals, can you imagine where this world would be?
Oh my gosh, so much better. Well, that's why, you know what, if you're in Southern California, whether you're Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, Riverside, even if you're in Oxnard, and I'm probably throwing out names of towns that, people who are like, I'm on the other side of the country, I don't know what you're talking about. But, if you're in the area, there's no reason why you don't want to volunteer for them. I mean, honestly, I don't remember if I said this during the interview or not, but one of the volunteers, when we were talking before this interview, they had said, I wish you were still in Southern California and you would be able to foster us. It's like, oh, I would do a lot more than just foster. I would be, right there fostering, helping with adoptions, doing all these things because I'm committed to it. And I love to actually see an organization like Ace of Hearts that is just there. I mean, what an amazing organization.
Yep.
They definitely have my respect and my hats off
to you.
Yeah. Well, by that sound, Claire has turned on the applause sign. I want to thank Kari Whitman one more time for being on the podcast. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you, and I really do hope that I actually get you to come back on the podcast, because I'd love to know what else is going on.
Are you going to fanboy it again?
I will probably always fanboy, yes. Okay. And I openly said I'm fanboying here, You can be a rock star, you can be a movie star, and I'm going to, admire what you did, but
you're more of a fanboy speaking with her than you were when Bacchus from the...
Yes.
At the time, was from the Blues.
Because I'm actually more of a fan of somebody like this who actually is doing something, saving lives, and has the same ambitions that I have, over somebody who is just playing a game or in a movie or on a, playing a musical instrument. I'm more interested in them. Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Claire.
I'm Claire Green. Play with your kittens and pets.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
And now the show is over now.